Counter. More kills, more kills, more kills. Right here. Oh, boom, big hits. Is it possible to achieve a maximum raid score with a Luminara lead with little investment? Is Eeth Koth better than Qui-Gon? Or is Qui-Gon better than Eeth Koth? Hello, Holotable. Welcome to my Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes series, the Naboo Raid Minimalist Part 5, where I, your humble YouTuber and Twitch streamer, take you on an approach of completing the raid in the most accessible ways possible. Today, I'm comparing Eeth Koth to Qui-Gon Jinn, trying to figure out which Jedi is the best one to use to maximize your Jedi score and save you the most time. I have recently been determined to make Eeth Koth viable, as you've probably seen in some of my past videos where I theory crafted the best ways to use them. So, similar to many of you who bought Lightspeed bundles or had a mediocre or average Jedi roster, I'm going to try to maximize both to get the most out of all my units. So you can watch previous videos, and I appreciate all the support, guys. You all have been amazing on YouTube so far. I'm trying to achieve the maximum raid scores. I have been determined to make Eeth Koth viable. But similar to many of you who bought the Lightspeed bundles or have an average Jedi roster, I want to try to maximize every unit possible so I can use my whole raid roster, not feel like I'm wasting any potential. Is it possible to achieve a maximum raid score with a Luminara lead with little investment? Is Eeth Koth better than Qui-Gon, or is Qui-Gon better than Eeth Koth? What did we do? Well, I took the sacrifice and I ran the Naboo raid multiple times with the Jedi squad, trying to figure out an average of outcomes. I attempted several combinations, with the main focus on using my primary Jedi team of Luminara, Kit Fisto, Shaak Ti, and Plo Koon, where I exchanged Qui-Gon and Eeth Koth to see if one was truly better than the other. As you can see, we have a whole roster of units, and I got tired of seeing them all just going to waste or getting 2,000, 3,000 points when some of my team can get me the full crate reward. So I wanted to pull up each Jedi and see what we could do. The first thing I did was remod my Eeth Koth and Qui-Gon to try to get their stats to be as even as possible without anybody lacking, much different speed, a different offense amount, different health, different protection. So I got them pretty similar. We can take a look at both Jedi to see how close I was. If you look at their speeds, they're pretty similar. Eeth Koth is a little bit slower, but overall still about the same. 236, 249. I didn't do any sort of crazy slicing of my mods. They're all just flat Mark V mods, nothing too crazy on them. A bunch of blue dots, or green type mods. Nothing special. Eeth Koth is a little bit tankier, but not by a whole lot. Overall, 93,000 health and protection versus 88, give or take, on Qui-Gon Jinn. So they're about the same amount of tankiness, same speed. If you look at the physical offense, they're pretty similar. 5,500 of Eeth Koth versus Qui-Gon's 5,300. Qui-Gon's special offense is also a little bit less too, so he's not quite as offensively capable or tanky as Eeth Koth. So on pure stats right now, it seems like Eeth Koth is ahead. And we take a look at my roster itself and see if that's the case. We pull up over here. I can pull up my Eeth Koth in a second for you guys. Pull up my Eeth Koth here. I'll show you the mods themselves. See, nothing special over here on the top right. We got a couple gray mods, a purple one, a couple golds, but nothing too crazy on those mods. The reason why I was looking at Eeth Koth, and even with his offense, if you look at his unique ability, he gets a higher chance for, a bonus in critical chance and critical damage when attacking droids. So that already increases his damage output even further in this raid. The biggest drawback with Eeth Koth is he can't create buffs for himself or the team, so you lack a little bit of defense penetration, but I was hoping that the other Jedi could help elevate that ability. Force Push, you can stun droids, which is great. Ability Block, also useful, but it's not a make or break ability for the game. His basic, and get some defensive down. Biggest thing I'm trying to get with Eeth Koth is you can increase your critical damage and chance. One thing I might change in a future attempt with him is on his triangle, maybe give him critical damage instead of offense, since he does have a higher chance to crit. That might drastically change things in the future. With Qui-Gon Jinn, where is he? There he is. So he's got some speed primaries, so theoretically I can make Qui-Gon a lot faster. If I invested in his mods, he would eventually begin to outspeed Eeth Koth quite exponentially. But once again, his mods aren't anything special. I have some speed, some offense. They're spec'd pretty similar to each other. I don't want to go anything crazy on the mods, because we already know I can max score, so that wasn't the primary intent, to try to make it so I could max score on this raid, but just to compare the two together. Now when going with both of these guys, the raid was both heavy RNG focused. Eeth Koth, I managed to, on my first run, get about 800,000 points on the Relic 5 raid. For my first attempt with Qui-Gon Jinn, it was about 300 something thousand. In the past, if you watch my videos, you also know that I can max score with Qui-Gon Jinn. And let's kind of break down the differences in the two. So with Qui-Gon's abilities. So with Qui-Gon's abilities, his Humming Blow, if you remove a buff on an enemy, you give all your allies offense up for 3 turns, which right there is about, I believe, a 50% increase to their offense, and gains a buff that's 10% defense penetration, which is really nice when you're trying to do the damage. I found the most useful thing with Qui-Gon Jinn is his Harmonious Assault. Sometimes when you're trying to fight something, you need just a bit more damage to take something out. So this is a great ability to get 2 allies to attack. I've often found this to be clutch when you're trying to take down one remaining droid before they heal each other back up. Now, if I had better mods, I may not be that close in my execution of this raid, but I'm trying to go with not having to remod every time, not having to boost all my characters up with crazy mods, just showing that you can do it with just some basic speed and basic stats. You want to focus on your offense, you want to focus on some speed, but you don't have to slice every tune if you don't want to invest all your materials into it. That's kind of the approach that I'm going with this. Another benefit of Qui-Gon Jinn is his basic attack, so if you don't have any of your abilities ready, which are almost always on cooldown because when he takes damage, I believe he has a chance to reset his cooldowns, which is really nice. But his basic right here is a chance to gain turn meter, and also a chance to remove turn meter, which is really nice when in the raid when you're trying to get multiple turns in before the droids can stack up that enrage timer. So on a pure kit analysis, Qui-Gon Jinn definitely stands out to me. I could see a breaking point where Eeth Koth could have his critical damage be so high that... Go back to Eeth Koth for a second here. With his unique, that his critical damage is so high and chance so much higher than Qui-Gon Jinn that maybe he's useful if he's being called into assist a bunch of times. Maybe if you can throw in like Aayla Secura with your Jedis, maybe take out Shaak Ti at some point. She is a harder character to farm up. I could see a squad if you have Aayla Secura geared up, which I plan to down the road pretty soon, here in the next couple weeks. I have her, and she's calling in assists of Eeth Koth, and when they're all countering with Kit Fizz's potency up and Luminar is still over time, maybe that roster will be a higher potential, which I may test out once I get Aayla Secura geared up a little bit more. Right now she's just way too squishy and dies way too fast in the roster, and she's not Relic 5. But my overall impressions and executions of the raid is that Qui-Gon Jinn has a higher tendency to get you further in the raid. He creates more debuffs and buffs for your team. He calls in assists. He creates turn meter. Overall, a higher utility character. And when both characters of Eeth Koth and Qui-Gon Jinn are 1-to-1 in stats, so basically speed, offense, health, protection, I found Qui-Gon to be the much more reliable character and has a better chance to get you to the very end of the raid, which you may see down below, as I do eventually win the raid, even though Qui-Gon Jinn does die. So in a previous video, I talked about putting Eeth Koth on a leftover Galactic Republic Jedi team, and this is the roster that I built for myself because I didn't have them all up and running yet. The only change I would make if I ever got Aayla Secura to Relic 5, I may throw her on my primary team and put Shaak Ti down here. It's because Shaak Ti is not the most useful for me personally. I have enough D-spells with Luminara that if I made her a little bit faster, she could dispel the Droideca's shield. And this roster here would be purely for damaging, and Mace Windu is really the only guy who can dispel things on this roster right now. He's not the most reliable character at dispelling an opponent's abilities, so having Shakti on this side, where her basic can dispel things, is really nice. And also on the main team, Plo Koon can also dispel with his basic. So you've got lots of options on that team to get rid of Droideka shields or any annoying buffs that you don't want the enemy to have. So here I'm building out my roster, and you can catch these attempts live on Twitch, where I playtest some of these things. I don't always record every video I do, but you can see from my stream last night that I was playtesting these. Just kind of look at it a little bit as we go through it. And I increase the speed. Let's see here. There we go, speed, there we go. Let's 2x this a little bit and go through it. So I'm kind of going through the team a little bit. Let's see here. Eeth Koth doing a little bit of damage. I'm trying to throw him in there a few times, trying to figure out, do I send Eeth Koth? Do I gain buffs? I mean, he's doing okay damage so far on the first wave. He's pretty similar to Qui-Gon. Like I said before, he is not spec super great yet. There's very average mods on these guys, so I'm just kind of throwing these guys in here and seeing what I do. I believe the first attempt I get around 700,000 points. Just try to skip to the very end of this raid, see how it does. Go farther. Nope. Yeah, the first attempt wasn't that high, only 348. But it is very similar. That really fast. Very similar execution as Qui-Gon, but I do think Qui-Gon's abilities give him a little bit of bonus to his team, so he can generate buffs, call and assists, generate turn meter. But as you know from my past streams and videos, my Qui-Gon dies all the time. As you saw, he's not that tanky yet. Definitely need to boost up his mod some. But this squad is doable to max score, so I have not felt encouraged to invest my mod materials into this team yet, because I'm more focused on my Gungans and my Maul squad with my mods. But yeah, that's basically it for the Eeth Koth. Problem is he just doesn't counter, he doesn't have that many abilities to really do a whole lot. Here, do I have a moment where I have a good score? Yeah, here I got 700,000 with Eeth Koth, even though he died. I mean, which is fine. I mean, if that's the best score you got, you only have, let's see, bundles. You could throw in Qui-Gon, Eeth Koth, Luminara, Kit Fisto, and Plo Koon, which you all get from the Lightspeed bundle. I believe I do one attempt without Shakti here. Let's see if I can find that really fast. Yeah, here I'm doing an attempt without Shakti, just to go pure Lightspeed bundle, and see if it's even possible. You guys are some buffs. Opponents see up here if I should counter. Having Qui-Gon and Eeth Koth, you can get some good damage. So I'm sure if I did enough runs having Eeth Koth and Qui-Gon on the team and not Shakti, I can maybe max score at some point. But I'm pretty sure I need to focus my mods a bit more to be able to get them to a max score potential. Because having the extra damage as a counterattack, Eeth Koth could crit multiple times. I may throw on next raid a crit damage mod on Eeth Koth and try it again to see what happens and see if he's able to max score for me. But I definitely see the potential where your whole Lightspeed bundle can max score for you. Not the most optimal in my opinion, but see right there I dispelled a buff again, got some more buffs for my team with Qui-Gon Jinn. So on a pure one-on-one comparison of Eeth Koth versus Qui-Gon, if you have other Jedi you can use, I would definitely recommend Qui-Gon over Eeth Koth. I think Qui-Gon just gives you a lot more options for your team, a lot more guaranteed damage too. Eeth Koth is not critting, he's not doing his maximum damage, but if you can guarantee crits with Eeth Koth, I can see him doing good work for you. The higher rate of the higher tier of the raid, the enemy gets a higher chance for crit avoidance. So I don't necessarily recommend using Eeth Koth on like Relic 5+ like I'm doing, just because he has a chance. Yeah. Here my squad basically gets ruined because I don't have a cleanse. That's one reason why I like Shakti, is she can cleanse your team, but I'm not going to break down Shakti's viability right now. I was more just trying them out. And here I get a little aggravated. I'm like, I'm going to just do some more Qui-Gon and try to complete this raid. So I do eventually complete it. I'm going to skip down to the end down here. These are all Qui-Gon Jinn attempts. But yeah, I get stuck on the final character, but I managed to get here, 1.176. This RNG is really annoying. I don't have enough damage or speed on my characters. He's getting bonus turns every time I take one turn, so just not the best optimized team yet. but it is good enough to get me a max score, so I really can't complain. We'll go look at the Gungans dancing around. Takes me a long time to beat it. Yeah, there we go. Jar Jar's happy, Gungan's happy, it's all good. But yeah, that's my basic breakdown in comparison between Eeth Koth and Qui-Gon Jinn. Eeth Koth, I could see a certain cap of crit damage being great, so maybe if you mod him with a crit damage triangle, give him some good speed, and maybe have Aayla Secura in there as well to call assists for you, you might be able to get more benefit with Eeth Koth and Qui-Gon Jinn. But for your average player, I would recommend Qui-Gon Jinn over everybody else. He has more uses in the game with GAC, with different events in the game. You can use him in the Assault Battle for early tiers. And he has the ability to give you buffs for your whole roster, which then grants more defense, pen, and turn meter for everybody else. And I found his ability to call an assist really helped me out to kill a droid when I don't have quite enough damage and an enemy is about to heal up the whole roster. He can really get in there and wipe them out with guaranteed damage. Guys, I hope this video kind of helps you get an understanding of maximizing your Lightspeed bundle. I hope you've enjoyed my other raid content. I plan to make some more down the road. I have another mall video coming out down the road. I have another mall video coming out later this week, and I have another video coming out around Wednesday talking about my ideas to help improve this raid, tweak it a little bit, make it more accessible for lower tier players who can only do tier 0 or tier 1, because those levels are really difficult if you don't have the roster ready to go. As you'll see in my mall video, even going for tier 1 at gear 12 units, it can still be a problem. It took me multiple attempts to even complete it. But once again, if you like this video, guys, please like the video down below. Leave a comment. Tell me your favorite rosters to use for this raid. Tell me if you use Eeth Koth. I'd love to see your mods for him. See if you agree with my ideas. And as always, guys, you can find me on Twitch. And may the Force be with you. Thank you, guys.